Alright, welcome back. So in the last video, we were looking at the use cases of AI agent. Now in this video, I'm going to show a simple demo, but it will be written in a basic way how we actually were building agents from last, I think, initial days of agent capabilities we have started discovering. But now we have frameworks. So I'm not going to use any framework. I want to make sure that the concepts are clear and how the communication happen between the for example, we go know this is the tool and the large language model. So combination makes it an agent. So how the communication happen between tool and LLM, that's what I want to demonstrate. So here's the scenario where I'm going to showcase a simple web agent which can search internet and answer user queries. So this is fine. Okay, let's get started. So all here I have the important link which I want to talk about, which is from OpenAI, and it's called function calling. It's also named as tool calling, so people interchangeably use these words. Now, what is function calling or tool calling? It is like ability for LLM to call a tool or call a function. And tool or function is nothing but the actual program which is going to do something. So it will take some input and give back output. So let's take example here. So if you look at the left hand side, on the left hand side we have a developer which is actually responsible for writing function or tools. And there's a function called get weather, which pass a location. And the question is, what's the weather in Paris? And the model come back saying, okay, call this tool get weather, because it takes a location as a parameter. For this query, call this tool with this parameter called Paris. So that is because model is at least understand the context, right? So this is the first thing we have to understand. Developer implements tools or functions and give it to model saying that for a user query, tell me how should I call this tool? Means what should be the parameter, because that's a runtime, that should be driven runtime. There's no rule here. We can't write any rule. Okay, if X is the input, then Y is the output, or Y is the parameter. Now, once model gives saying this is the tool you have to call and with this particular parameter, now then the third step is very simple. It's just the execution of the function, the way we execute any code in any programming language, and that code will generate the output. Here it is generating the output called output as temperature 14. Now, what is the meaning of this? It means I got the output from the function calling, and next step is I take this data, which is output of the function, to the model again, saying, okay, all the prior messages, which means the user asked me is what was the weather at Paris, and user gave me a response, model gave a response back saying that call this tool with this parameter. And when we call that tool, we got a response as temperature 14, and we given that input as a prompt to model. Now model will come back with a final response saying it's currently 14 degrees Celsius in Paris. Now you see that there are a few iterations happening here. So that's what I wanted to make sure that this is clear, and this is how tool or function calling works, or LLMs actually get the agentic behavior. Now let's get started on the notebook. So let me connect. I think I already connected it. First, I need to install two libraries, OpenAI and Tavily Python. So these are the one I need, and both of them will come with their own keys, which I already installed or saved it in my secret. OpenAI, you can get it from OpenAI website API, and then Tavily, we go to Tavily website, log in, and you can see you can configure these keys. There are two modes available, like a simple search or advanced, which I'm going to talk about. Now, what is the simple search means? When you do a search, like a user query, you normally get a links and some, along with the title, you get some text, maybe a few lines of text, which is mostly the snippet, the page snippet. But if I talk about advanced feature or advanced mode, then what it means it's going to scrape the data from the web page or the link URL. The link which it is returning, that link has the data like a web page. So scrape the data, give me the content, not just the snippet. I need a complete content, and I'll use that. So that's what is going to happen here. And after that, once it is done, so I'd create client for OpenAI, which is just a one line of code again. I just call this function OpenAI because this is coming from OpenAI package. Then I am now creating the tool. So this is the tool which I want to show to you. Tavily deep search, it takes query, it takes argument advanced, and it is also supporting basic, both the things, and max result. So default values is present for both, but I can change it while calling. So what is it does is it will create a client first using again one line. Then we have to call this tool with search function, and these are the parameters, very simple one. And I can say include answer. It actually has a capability to, like this service, Tavily service, it is a paid service, but there are 1,000 credits available every month, free. So it's good for testing and experimentation. But what happens is, like, it generates a response as an AI generated response. I mean, whatever results it uses AI and give you the kind of a summary of the results. So that's what I say include answer. Yes, include raw content. I don't need raw content. I want AI generated content, because in raw content it will be too much data and too many unnecessary symbols and text, which I think I need to clean it. So this library is already doing that work. So why should I do that? So this is a tool which I'm writing. And then include images. No, I'm not looking for images. I'm looking only for textual data right now. Format results. So this is like once I get the response, I want to format it. I want to keep these 4 parameters as a dictionary: query, answer, results, and search steps. And then finally I have this, like, because the results are, I'm going to have results, like for example 5 or 10, whatever I pass. So I need to extract all these respective links, titles, and the content, and score and capture it in this formatted results list. So sorry, it's the dictionary in the result field. So because result field is the list actually. Okay, so query answer is fine, but results is the list, so that will be result for all the links, not just one. Now let me run it. So when I run this, I just passing the question, what are the latest breakthroughs in quantum computing and their practical applications? So normal query, I got the answer back in, I think 4 seconds it took. And here is what we have answered. So we have a query, answer. So quantum computing breakthrough includes improved drug discovery, stronger cybersecurity, all those things, fine. And then we have results, because we mentioned 5 as a default, and I did not pass anything as how many results I need to fetch. So it is using the default value, which is max result 5. So we got 5 different links you see here, and with the scoring of each link and the content, it by default supports this summarization feature. Like, okay, don't give the complete web content, because some of the pages are really long, like maybe 10 page or 20 pages text is there. So why don't you just summarize it and give it to me, because I'm just looking for some high level information with my query. And also we have to be mindful about the tokens. Once this data goes, the whole data is going to go to LLM actually. So till here it is clear, we did not involve any large language model. There's no agentic feature till this point. It is just a function, plain function, which is a search function, and I called it using a query. Next we go to the function. Now before I make a LLM as an agent, what do I need? I need to first define like a tool configuration. It's a tool configuration. Otherwise, model will not know how do I call tool, or what is the tool, and that is this particular structure. It's called OpenAPI structure, which we use. So we have to tell, okay, type is function, name is because we are trying to define a tool definition. So name of the tool, description, what does this tool do, and parameters, and then required, which of the parameters are required. So we're saying only query is required, other two are default, like can be optional. So this is how I define the tool in OpenAPI, not OpenAI, OpenAPI format. It is a generic format used by all the providers like Google, Gemini, Claude, and others. Similarly, OpenAI also supports it. Now this is the configuration I need, and when I take this configuration, here is how I write an agent. So I write a function agent which takes an input list. Input list is nothing but the user input, you can think of. It's a list format. So I will talk about that just because we need to follow some structure here. First of all, we are using response, I think response API from OpenAI. So there is a very popular response API what we are using, and that's what I refer this function. So you can also check from there. There's the sample code available, and I'm using model for 4.1 mini tool. Now tools is something I need to pass, and that's what I'm passing tool here. So you see here I have one tool. In case I have multiple tools, then this will be another, there will be another entry. Let's say there's a tool which can do a weather information, or maybe financial data extraction. So you give the company symbol and it will give you the financial data. So I'll keep on adding this tool after this comma. So that is why. And here I just say tools is equal to tool. And then input list is nothing but the messages. That's what the user is going to pass. So we'll call this and we're just dumping it. That's simple. And when we call this, remember a previous diagram which I showed you, the first time when we call, model will not give you answer. Model will just say, okay, the user query is about, let's say user query is what are the latest breakthrough in quantum computing. Model will say, call this tool with this parameter. And this parameter will be the query. And we'll see that. So that's what we are going to get here. And we are going to extract that. We are saying, okay, item name, Tavily search, and then what is the argument? From that, we will extract those values which model is given, saying, here's the query, here's the deep search depth parameter which you have to set, where here is the max value. So we are getting all from model response, setting it and making it as the input list appended. And finally, our input list now got few things. Initially, it was just a user query. Now, because we executed this part of the code, which means we asked model, okay, here's the query, what should we do? Model said, okay, I have a tool configuration and here's the user query. So you call this tool with these parameters. So now our input list got enhanced with user query plus tool calling details, not the actual tool call function execution, just the tool calling details. And then in the second, again, I'm calling now model here. And this time when I call, same input list I'm passing, but this input list has what? Not just a user query. It has user query plus tool calling details. So once that information is available, then the tool will be called, the response will be taken back, and that response will be given to the model. And this is what we are going to see the result. We are saying, okay, respond with a comprehensive answer based on the web search results, include citations to sources used. So this, we can just give an instruction, high level instruction, or kind of a common thing which model should be performing for every task whenever a user asks a query. So this is the instruction. Now let's run this. And here is the input list where user says, okay, what are the latest breakthrough in quantum computing? Or maybe we can say, change the question. What are the latest breakthrough in artificial general intelligence? All right, so I change the question rather than calling the same question from previously, I change the question here. So let's run this, and then we call this function agent with input list. And here input list means I can have more questions. If I want to ask 3 questions, 4 different questions, I can just keep on repeating this kind of structure, saying, okay, role is user, content is this. But generally we will have this structure in such a manner that first is a user call, then AI call, then user call, then AI call. So that's why this structure is built. But right now in this structure I have only user, so I'm expecting AI to respond. So let's see when I run this. Okay, looks like I missed something too. Okay, I think this I did not run. That's the reason. So run this now. All right, so you see here, let's take a look at the response, initial response. You look at the initial response, says we got arguments, query this, call ID, so call ID because it has to call a function or a tool. So call ID, which tool to call, that's the name of the function call. Okay, parallel tool call, that's the feature, we can call multiple tools in parallel. So it's just saying it's true and all those things. And then it is just calling this, saying, okay, here's the tool detail which we need to call, plus any of the details about the token, for example, how many tokens are used, so reasoning tokens, total tokens, all those things are there. This is how the whole data which is gone to the model in the second call, which means the complete search data we got from the model, from the tool, and this is gone to the model in the second call here in the second call, because model has already given instruction to call this tool. So with this, the model tool would have been was called, and when I printed this final input, which was here, so in the agent, go back here. So we call this function, First we got initial response where we got the whole response into which tool to call, what are the parameters to pass and all, and then we got the final input where we are calling, we invoke the tool. Okay, we invoke this Tavily tool with this search, and we got the search, and that's what we have seen the value final input. When I print this input list here, final input, let me copy this and show you what does it contain. OC Sublime. So you see here this much data model, not a model, but first what was the query, response function, call, tool call, it says, okay, argument is query this, search depth is this, max result is this, and then call ID and all the details. Then the function call output, because it has the function was called as a part of the flow, not by the model. Model just return the information what to call and what parameter. What to call means which tool and what parameter. And when the function was called as a part of the workflow, we got this response. We got this link, like for example, this is the one of the link from medium.com and the content here. This is another link from Fast Company and the content from that web page link. And then I think there are a few more like that. So because we are asking for a 5 different URLs or the 5 different results. So this whole becomes a context for model now. And in the second call, which was here, go back 1 second, let's go back. So in the second call, so when we call this here, input list is ready. Now input list contains all these things which I told you. So this is the complete input list. This is the complete input list. Now this is what goes next time, and we are telling respond with a comprehensive answer based on the web search results. So there's already user LLM already can see that here is the query which user asked, here is the tool call information which already are captured there, and what tool was called and what parameters were passed, and output of the function tool calling, the complete output. So complete context model got. Now we ask the question, respond with the comprehensive answer based on the web search results. And model, look at what is the model response. So we got it. When we print now this, so first we are printing here the agent response model dump. So this is just like information. So you see here, this is the stuff which says text, the latest breakthrough and all. But in the below part of the code, I have printed the actual response which model. But if I'm just focusing on the content, what output I got. So you see, I asked one question and I got a response from the model with the help of a tool in a very good and nice numbered list, point by point, 7 point with a summary that these are the things. And there are citations available because I mentioned in my instruction very clearly, which is here, that include citations to the source used, because model actually has the data. Here all the citations are available in the context, so model has to just make sure it is used. So you see, this is the final response, which is the good enough response for me to validate that it is coming from the authentic source, and also it is actually I'll say rich enough or detailed enough for me to could make good sense out of it, what I'm looking for. And then if I want more deeper questions, I can have a follow-up questions on the model. So this is what I wanted to show you about the capability on the AI agent. So what I have shown here is the very basic AI agent without using any framework. Just use OpenAI, and I could have used anything like a Gemini, OpenAI, Claude, or others, but just use OpenAI response APIs because I need one model which can actually generate the response. And I used one tool, and tool could be any tool, right? I just use a web search tool because I wanted to build a web agent. Tomorrow I want to, let's say, build the database agent, which is called SQL agent. So I will have a function which will give model access to call database, basically access the data from the database. So there should be a function written by developer which takes some parameter, mostly the query actually. In case of DB, it is always the query. Take the query and call the database, get the results, and give it to the model. Model will augment the data in such a manner so that it forms a natural language response to user query. So this is how we do it. And this is the end of session 1. Here is the contact information. If you want to send any or share any feedback, feel free to do so, or need help with any use case, that's also okay. Please reach out. And I'm going to share another video on another session soon after this posting of this session 1. Thanks for watching.